Welcome to the Furious Focus, everyone. This is your host, Golden Zermac. I'm here with my buddy, my good friend, Skip Robinson. He's an IFBB Pro and a veteran. We're going to talk to you a little bit today about himself and what he's got going on. Hey, Skip, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Golden, and I'm telling me to shut up because I talk too much. But I always look so very forward to any kind of collaboration that we do. This is a
Oh,
first
man.
podcast, but I mean,
Yeah.
the times during the year when we meet, it's like a little
Mm-hmm.
vacation for me, man. It's
Oh
always
man, I
good.
appreciate it. It's always great talking to you. And actually, that's part of the reason I wanted you on here is you are a man that has been through some stuff and have stories about things. And I hope the
Don't
listeners,
get me started.
will figure that out along the way. For those that don't know you, haven't followed any of our photo work or anything, who is Skip Robinson and where did he get started at?
First of all, who are those who haven't followed us and who don't know who I am?
I know,
Well, so
right?
it's a long story, and I am old, so you might want to get your popcorn ready or get a drink handy or something. But I'm actually Frank B. Robinson III, and I'm very proud of that name. Named after my father and my grandfather. Born originally in Des Moines, Iowa. My family comes from Iowa. I still claim Iowa as my home, although we moved to the DC metro area when I was 8 or 9. My dad took a job with the federal government,
Hmm.
but all my family, cousins, aunts, uncles that are still remaining, still back in Iowa. Grew up in Maryland, went to high school in Montgomery County, went to college in West Virginia, and straight from college, I went into the Navy. Go Navy, beat Army. That Army Navy game's this weekend. And
Oh yeah, my dad mentioned that too. He's like,
yeah, flew for the Navy for a bit. And I glossed over a lot because there's a lot between Iowa and the Navy. I was 10, I'm 65 now. And I'll probably reach back and pull some information from back in those days. But what I will say, going back to my name, my grandfather was an only son. My dad was an only son. I was an only son.
hmm.
So being black and in the Midwest, you either were somebody or you weren't. There was no middle ground.
Right.
And because my grandfather was raised by a deadbeat, in fact, that's kind of an oxymoron. He wasn't raised by a deadbeat. He had a deadbeat for a dad. He was raised by his mom. And I tell my kids this story because this was the launch point, I feel, for who we are, who I am. His dad came home one day, police escort, and they asked my grandfather, "Do you know this man? He claims that he lives here." My grandfather was 14, and he said, "No, I do not." Closed the door, and that was that. But basically, in that moment where my grandfather said, "That shit stops now," there aren't going to be any deadbeat dads. There's not going to be any. The streets are raising my kid. When I have a kid, he's going to do X, Y, and Z. And so that was my father. My father inherited this game plan that, keep in mind, my dad was born in the 1930s, black man in the Midwest. You got a game plan that you will either follow or you will get swallowed whole by stepping off the path. My grandfather figured it out. He went in the Navy at 17, had only one son. My grandmother only had one child. And so the entire weight of the Robinson name was on my dad. And he didn't know. I mean, he's an only son, he's an only child.
Right.
He only knows, how am I being raised? So that message that my dad was raised under was given to me. I mean, it's the script. It was the only way
Hmm.
he knew. So there was never any, I can't, I won't, I'm too tired, I'm too this, that, or the other thing. These are the
Exactly.
things we're going to do. And my grandfather, in fact, told me, and this is a cliche now, but I remember being told more than once, you're going to have to work twice as hard to get half as far. And I did the math pretty quickly at 6 or 7. And I was like, okay. He didn't say it as though it was insurmountable. This is what's going to be in front of you. And again, I'm saying all this to say this is how the motor was built. I inherited that. It's a double edged sword. I don't have an off switch. And
Right.
I got all the fast twitch muscle fiber, I had the glaucoma, the bad knees, got it all. But looking back, my dad just kept going until he couldn't go anymore. He was an athlete. He worked for the Department of Education until he retired, went to the gym, ran, swam every day. And I've done the same thing, not wittingly. It's just the way it's worked out. It's because I don't have an off switch.
Right.
Um, I was going to go to law school at the University of Pittsburgh. I just finished at WVU, but went up to interview at Pitt and got accepted into law school. And I was home during the summer before school would have started. And one of my dad's good friends from Iowa, Byron Wiley, Captain Wiley, he was a captain in the Navy, bombardier navigator. He came by the house and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm going to law school." He said, "You ever think about flying?" And I said, "No." A couple weeks later, I was at the recruiter, and a couple months later, I was down in Pensacola with Gunnery Sergeant Hawks, learning where my limitations were. Flew 6 years active because I wanted to be a fighter pilot like everybody, and there weren't enough fighters to go around when I was graduating, so I didn't
Right.
get that. And just salty. I didn't really care for what I was doing, and I didn't put everything into it like I should have. And my career in the Navy was shorter than it should have been, but I don't regret any of it. While I was in the Navy, and this ties back into my no off switch, I had a buddy that called me, played football in high school, didn't play in college. I went to West Virginia on a track scholarship. My buddy called me, said, "Can you still play football?" And I kind of laughed at him. I'm like, "Of course." I was maybe 29, and he was playing semi pro for a team in Virginia. So I went and tried out, and there I am playing for the Virginia Storm, semi-pro football. For the first time in my life, I started lifting before I went out. I was about 155 pounds. I went out for the Storm at 173. Within that, I realized weight training works. I modified my meals just by common sense. I didn't have any, macros wasn't even a phrase back then, but I just ate more and I tried to eat pretty clean and I lifted and I ran and got bigger and played football. Played for 3 years, stopped playing football, but I kept lifting and I kept lifting and I kept, you know how it is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I started to put on some size, didn't really realize it. A buddy of mine, and I say that kind of tongue in cheek because he was like that guy at the gym. He wasn't really my buddy. He was somebody that knew me, and
Yeah.
I would just kind of look at like, good Lord. His name's Don Long. He's an IFBB pro, and you can look him up one day. Dude was a beast. But he came up, I was doing arm curls, and he tapped me and said, "Are you getting ready for something?" And I said, "Well, I ran track, I played football, but right now I'm not doing anything." He said, "No, are you getting ready for a show?" I didn't know what kind of show he was talking about.
Oh, yeah. The show. What kind
Honestly, I
of?
didn't. What
Yeah.
kind of show? I said, "Nah," and he said, "You should." And so I went and clarified with him. He said, "Bodybuilding. I think you've put in a lot of good work. It looks like you've got a solid foundation." He said, and I kind of laughed it off. And a couple months later, I said, "This bodybuilding thing, how do I go about doing that?" He said, "Write down your meals and bring them in to me." And so I did. And he had like an office at the gym. Donnie was a pro bodybuilder. That's all he did was bodybuild. Trained in the morning, ate at the gym, trained in the afternoon, ate at that's what he did.
Oh, yeah. He lived the
Um,
life.
he lived the life and it showed. I mean, if you look him up, you'll be like, oh. So I sketched out my meals and I walked into his office. It was like meeting the Godfather. So
Yeah, I
he
bet.
he's upstairs at the gym and there's this conference table and his boys are flanking on either side sitting and he's at the end with his elbows on the table. And I'm like the cowardly lion in the Wizard of Oz
It's like,
walking to me,
what am I doing?
walking down that hall. My knees are knocking. And I hand him my diet and he looks at it and he says, "Take the bananas out." But literally that was the only tweak that he made. So looking back, I wasn't that far off. Took the
Yeah.
bananas out, signed up for a show, trained for it, won novice lightweight. That's how small I was. I won novice lightweight, came in third in open middleweight. Um, and I did at least one show every year after that.
That's that off.
Um,
Not that's no off switch again.
so no off switch. And I'll be honest with you, and this is a bodybuilding segue because I know you're in the
Hmm.
lifestyle. I was bone natural, and every year I only did one show a year, except 1 year I did 3 shows, which was a mistake.
Oh,
But
I can imagine.
yeah, so every year I'd be 2 pounds heavier. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And just as lean, maybe a little bit leaner. I was learning. I was doing it all on my own. Donnie was
Hmm.
kind of looking at me when I was actually dialing in, and he'd be like, "Okay, cardio this, carbs that." Mostly, he didn't touch me. I'm 44 now, and Constance is pregnant with the twins, and I'm doing my last show because I don't know what fatherhood is like, but I sure as hell know what bodybuilding life is like. And
Yeah.
there's no room for anything else. So
Yeah.
I have to put it away. I was excited to be a dad, and I still am. And they'll be 21 next week. I do my last show. It's a show called The Body Rock. And all the promoters were like, yeah, that's like a national caliber show. I didn't know what they were talking about. I did it because it was local and it was the best competition. I never did it because I wanted a trophy. I wanted the hook to bring me in at my best. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you do a show where there's three of you in your class and you come in first, or there's 25 of you and you come in seventh. If you're at your best, it doesn't matter. It
Right.
doesn't matter. And truthfully, your placing doesn't matter if you're at your best. If you're at your best, they should know. You know, if you're truly at your best, people should be able to tell.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, it's subjective, and come in at your best, which is a loaded statement because you don't know what your best is. You've never been there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So one masters overall at that show, one masters lightweight, third middleweight, and I hung them up. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Let's go do dad things. And the twins are turning 5, and I'm thinking, man, I could probably do one more show, and they'd see me go through the rigors, and maybe they'd appreciate the process somehow. I don't know. Maybe I was just rationalizing wanting to do another show. So I decided I was going to do another show, and I tore my shoulder up, Golden. I
Mm.
ruined it. I didn't think I'd be able to come back from it. I had it repaired, 7 screws. Took me 3 years. I would say for the first year, I was like, there's no chance. My
Yeah.
arm
Yeah.
atrophied down to a lollipop stick overnight. You know, your shoulders toast, your arm's not going to stay big because your shoulder's not going to let you use it. You know what I mean? I'm not
No,
going to
I
put an
figured that
arm
out.
underneath me. Yeah,
Yeah, getting
yeah.
injured, it's like everything is hinging literally on
Yes,
your shoulder for upper body.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if your shoulder's out of the game, the rest of your arm follows.
Yep.
So it takes itself out of the equation. So anyway, 3 years, and I decided I was going to go and do nationals. If I'm going to come back out of retirement, I'm not going to go to some local show because I look like a trophy hunter. I've done them all,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I want to be at my best. And doing nationals is going to challenge me. Nationals was in Pittsburgh, and I called, and this is 20 years after the Take the Bananas Out. But I got in touch with Don with Don Long, and he scripted out my whole deal.
Yeah.
So I actually flew down to Jacksonville to meet with him when I was 6 weeks out. And he looked at me because I'd been sending him pictures on the phone. But he looked at me and he said, holy, he said, the phone wasn't really doing it any justice. He said, you could do Team Universe in 2 weeks, 4 weeks early, and they're given 2 pro cards per class. He said, I'm not guaranteeing you anything, but your chances of getting a pro card if you come in, 2 weeks tighter than you are now. And
Yeah.
I told him in my own way, I'm training to be at my best. I need to go all the way through this pre-contest. So as enticing as that pro card is, I'm sticking with the game plan. He said,
Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
And Golden, there was 150 of us, and there was one pro card to be had.
Oh my god.
And yeah, and I went up there, and Donnie was there. I came off after prejudge and said, you're the most conditioned athlete in this entire show. He said, but the light heavyweight has been around a while and he's familiar and they've seen him. He was good. Dude had some wheels. Um,
Mhm.
he said, so he's the one that I'm thinking you got a problem with. And I just kind of, okay, it's what it is. And we got up there. I won over 50 middleweight.
Mhm.
So now I'm going up against all the weight class winners for the pro card. There's 8 of us, and I'm right next to the light heavy. And Donnie said, as soon as you turned around, it was over. And
Mhm.
I wasn't going to that show to win a pro card. I was going to that show to be at my best. And
Right.
when I looked at myself, when I looked at the pictures afterwards, I was like, oh hell yeah, I did it. I did it. And so all of that run up, all of that storytelling gets me to how we met,
Mhm.
because did a couple pro shows. You'll remember when they added classic physique.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of between the board shorts and
Uh,
the
the, the
bodybuilder.
the trunks, the little trunks.
Yeah, it's more like kind of the Frank Zane kind of a look is
Mhm.
really what they're looking for. I thought Frank Zane was outrageous.
Yeah.
Dude had the symmetry. I don't know. His symmetry was perfect. But anyway, they were trying to push me to do that. It was a new class and they didn't have a lot of people interested in it. And I thought they graded me down because they were trying to send me a message. Because I got on stage with some pros that I was like, I could have I could have gotten up here 2 weeks ago and beat these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I got second. And the next year I got fourth. I'm like, okay, joke's
Uh-huh.
on me. You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah,
not
you
being
kind of.
salty. Of course, I'm my own biggest fan, but I'm a realist. If I was 10th, I'll tell you, dude, I was lucky to be 10. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it was all I could do to come in 10th. I would tell you that.
Right.
Um, but I had them. I had them by the old rules, but they were trying to change the landscape. So they were bigger than me. I mean, everybody's bigger than me, but symmetry wise and conditioning wise, I had enough mass
Yeah.
and I had enough of everything to beat them. I know I did, but they wanted me in classics. So anyway, I stopped. But I didn't stop going to the gym,
No.
didn't stop training. But anyway, I knew about fitness modeling, obviously. I didn't really know about book covers so much, but I had a air quotes friend that kind of got into it. And I kind of got an idea of what was going on. It didn't really interest me, not even a little bit.
Right.
But that friend ghosted me.
Oh,
And I was
gee.
like, oh, okay. But me being me, I'm like, I'll use my body to get their attention, to tell them, you ain't ghosting me. If I want to be seen, I will be seen. And I'm not arrogant like that, but I can be if I need to be. So took me 2 years. Everything takes me time. I'm patient because I know that the work I'm putting in it's a return, there's a return on the investment. But I got in touch with a photographer, put a portfolio together, and then I got in touch with your buddy in Chicago.
Yeah.
So I had enough of a portfolio. He had seen my pictures. He shot me. In fact, he put me on Facebook Live. And as soon as he put me on Facebook Live, the ghoster was like, this motherfucker hadn't seen me in a year and a half. You
All
know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah.
And it's like,
It's like, all
oh, this
right.
yeah. So I got back to my hotel room. My phone had been blown up, just blowing up with you rat bastard motherfucker. I was like, okay,
Well, that's what you
okay.
get, right? I mean, shit.
Yeah, and that's really that golden. Honestly, that's all I wanted. I wanted the satisfaction of saying, "You're not going to just be able to dismiss me. I'm not that dude.
Yeah, I love it. I
I
love it
don't
when
really
you're
care
able
that."
to do that shit to
Yeah,
people that screw you over or think you can't do
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, watch me work. I was 60 years old, and I said, I can do that." I was 60. Who does that? I can do it. I worked my ass off, but I did it,
Right.
and it's the process. So after I got the big middle finger out of the way, I'm like, I'll just do this instead of bodybuilding. You know, it'll give me a hook. It'll put a stake in the ground. And that's why um, with you, it's always so refreshing because we put a date in the book
Yeah.
months out. And that's like a show to me. So now I can train to that. Most photographers are like, yeah, I might have an opening. Oh yeah.
Such last minute stuff. It's like, hey, I'm free
Yeah.
this Saturday.
I can't do that. I mean,
Right.
I'm not that dude. And I'm gonna
I
say
can't do it
something.
from the other perspective. I have to plan stuff because if I
It
don't,
will show.
it shows. Exactly.
It will show. I have to come in at my best, or I'm just a guy. I
Right.
don't have, I don't have anything that's like, oh shit, until I get myself in condition. And it's like, oh yeah, put him on a book.
Well, exactly. A lot of people
So
don't have that mindset, or that they treat shoots a little different than they would a show, but you treat it exactly the same, which is a good thing, I think, because again, you come in looking your best. Because a lot of times people will be like, I feel unless the shoot is deliberately for like a softer look, people will
yes,
come in and be like, I didn't look great, and then you see it in the pictures too, and you can just tell
yeah. But why didn't you look great?
exactly,
You know why.
exactly.
You know why.
Ain't
And
nobody
I'm
else's
not,
fault,
no,
but yeah,
and I'm not going to
exactly.
do that. I did a shoot. I met a guy who's a super photographer. He reminds me a lot of the one who shot I'm going to call them my portfolio
Hmm.
pictures, but, great photographer. We did a shoot. Yeah, we missed the window. It was really supposed to be more for like Halloween, but we did it. It might have been 3 or 4 days after Halloween. And I dialed in, but I dialed in to a point. I didn't dial in to one of our shoots because one, I wasn't going to be too terribly uncovered. And
Hmm.
two, I was a prop sort of. It was one of the few shoots I've done where I wasn't like a feature. It was more of
Yeah.
a thematic shoot. So it was kind of hard for me to not I'm getting ready to do a shoot, but
Your
I'm
head
still
stays
got,
in that same space, right? It's so
yeah,
you're
but I'm gonna
thinking,
eat the whole
oh,
potato. Yeah,
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 it's not easy when you're used to it at
right,
all.
yeah,
My next question for you is both of us being minorities in, well, I guess in both fitness, it's a little broader, but like in the book world,
yes,
representation, how important is that for you? Seeing other people that look like you on books and in these stories, etc.
yeah. I think about that a lot, and I was thinking about it running up to this, how I would really address it, because
Mm-hmm.
people are so quick to play a race card or pigeonhole comments about race into a category that makes them comfortable digesting it, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
He's black, so he said this, and so that means that. I don't. That's you need to pay attention. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not patronizing, but I'm not that guy that's just going to give you a cookie cutter. I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat or I'm a libertarian. So this is what I think. I
Right.
think what I think because of the circumstances.
As
So
and it's who you are. Exactly.
it's who I am. But I think I'm at a distinct disadvantage as far as selling covers, getting covers. And that wouldn't stop me from shooting for them because
Right.
of why I shoot for them. I shoot for them for me, not to sell a
Absolutely.
cover. I
Right.
love selling covers. I think it's cool. Um, but I really want the opportunity to train for it and to take good looking pictures. And I think I'll tell you what, every shoot we do, there's a couple that I'm like, fuck yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I love it when I can look on the back of the camera and be like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, and I try to be encouraging without the swearing, but it comes out anyway. During
yeah,
the
yeah,
shoot, I'm like,
yeah.
this is the fucking one.
Yeah, this is the one. You say, oh,
uh,
there's a cover.
yeah,
But I think a lot of authors are hesitant to use me because they don't know how they would write to a black. I don't know if you'd call him the leading man, the main character. If he's on the cover of the book, he's obviously a significant part of
right.
it. The thing that I always laugh at is, and I could be dead wrong, but I think it's like, how do I write a what a black man thinks, what a black man's going to do, what a black man's going to say, how he's going to do this, that, just a guy. I'm just a guy. You know what I mean? I'm from Des Moines, Iowa, for God's sake. Um, don't overthink it. How would you write any guy?
Totally agree. I think a lot of people too with romance, they think, oh my gosh, how am I going to write this specific gay thing? But
Yeah,
honestly, if you just write it like you would, there are differences obviously, but if you just wrote it like a real relationship,
yeah. You
it's
listen.
how it
Yes,
works. I mean,
yeah.
at
I
the end
was
of the
listening to Melissa Etheridge. She has a song, and I heard it this morning. She's on one of my playlists. But if you're not really paying attention, and you have to think it through, I'll think of the lyrics here in a minute. But she's singing about another woman who's left her, but with the pronouns and the she's singing it and it's a great song, you don't really get caught up in the gender because it's a great song. Write the damn book. You know what I mean? Write the
right,
book. If
right.
it's good, it's good. You
Oh,
don't need to
100%.
write a black book, you know? It doesn't
Right.
need to so yeah, I think I don't know if it's a fear factor. I don't know if it's a bias. I don't know if it's a sales thing. I probably won't sell as many because people don't like black people on their covers. I don't know. I mean, everybody talks like eh, I could go off on a tangent, but again, if I was in this to make money, it would be a little bit of a thing, but it's not a thing because I
Right.
don't care. I
Oh,
do care, but it doesn't, I'm not starving.
right. Right. I want to say something controversial too, probably. Get
Sure.
my ass fired. It's a double-edged sword when it comes to like this kind of stuff. And even like with I'm going to kind of tiptoe between the two with
Yeah, absolutely.
POCs and MM.
Very similar.
But both seem to have this thing where people want it. People crave it. They want extra representation. But what they do is they're either, like you said, they're either so fearful of getting something wrong that they don't write the thing to begin with. Or what I've encountered is they get super down in the weeds and super specific. I had one author email me. She had found a black man in Australia, of all places,
Hmm.
that she wanted to do a photo shoot with. And I'm like, great, we can work out details or whatever. But she went through a laundry list of specific items, clothing, hairstyles, nails for the female that was very, very restrictive. Then she capped it off by saying, well, I'll just review those and potentially buy something afterwards. So I was apparently going to pay this person to come over here myself and, shoot them.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, you want that specific a detail for your book for representation purposes, but
On a maybe?
on a maybe. And so you just can't have all these things, unfortunately. You do have to make some compromises here and there. So being more general and being more generic, I think helps white models better because they are just generic in that regard.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes them more appealing because they can just be molded into whatever. But then the fear factor and everything else comes in with POCs. The same with gay relationships and gay romances. I have struggled to find actual gay couples to do photo shoots with versus two straight models or gay pairing strangers together. And I don't know if all this is just a cultural thing, a community thing within silos.
That's interesting.
But I've also encountered a bunch of bookings from Black models and Hispanic models that will cancel the photo shoot once they read the release form and find out that it's for romance books. And I don't know. I can't speak to that because I'm not either one of those. But I'm always assuming they found that out and they were like, "Oh no, I can't do it for whatever reason."
Right.
But I'm not sure. But those are all factors that do play into availability. It's like I can't shoot a model that doesn't want to do the romance stuff.
Yeah. Right.
And it's just one of those things that over the years I've seen people tried to talk about, but that's a point that's hardly ever brought up. And I try to interject it where I can. But a lot of the bookings do cancel once they find out it's for romance.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not off-putting to me in the least.
Right. I guess some people get maybe insecure. I don't know. I've had couples that showed up, like the girlfriend or the wife show up with the shoot and they have issues afterwards. They argue or whatever because of the photos. And I'm like, they're sexy pictures, but they're not like porn.
This wasn't, nothing.
Porn.
Yeah, so no bodily fluids were exchanged in the creation of these photos.
Despite what people may think happens at these kind of photo shoots, and I'm sure somewhere they are, but no, not at this studio. That probably people canceling now because they're like, shoot, I was going to open.
There goes that opportunity.
I know. Oh well.
I never really thought of it through that far. But I did have back when I did with Jack Nutter, when I did my portfolio shoot, I did do one with a female who was pretty established, and her fiance came with her. He got all bunched up afterwards, not during, but he really had a hard time with it. And I'm telling you, I look at some of those pictures and I'm like, could we have been any further apart? You know what I mean? It just the gap, it was awkward.
Yeah, and I guess you don't see that or at the time because you're in the zone,
right?
And then sometimes you're like, golly.
Yeah. Some of them are really good, but a few of them are like, man, it looks like we're having an argument, because we're so far.
You're just friends and thinking about stuff, but keeping that
that's it. Yeah.
Back in COVID, 6 feet away, stay over there.
Yeah, that's it.
So are there any specific memorable things from photo shoots that you've done over the years? You've traveled a lot to these things and even events that you've attended.
That's an interesting question. Yeah, there's quite a few. And I'm thinking back to, I shot with Jack, my first photographer. I did a couple shoots before that, but they were just for posterity's sake. I had no idea what I was doing. So I did do a shoot and I posted a picture of one of them yesterday just because I'm out of stuff to post and it just popped up. I'm like, that's kind of cool. It was actually my backyard. We shot twice in my backyard and I did kind of a samurai look, but I have my black fighting pants on and I have one of those triangular bamboo Asian like farm field worker hats. I had my hands wrapped in burlap and it was 27 degrees outside. It was so cold. We had to stop because I couldn't feel my hands anymore.
Oh, that's a good stopping point.
Yeah, my hands were freezing. And part of it was because I wrapped them with the bamboo.
Oh, yeah, the circulation
burlap
in there.
Yeah. Still got some good images. That was darn memorable. A few with Jack because we shoot mostly outdoors. He likes dark, so it's always early. I will tell you another with Jack. He had just gotten a new rig, some new equipment, and it was like the day of, can you come out tonight to DC and shoot? I was in clothes though. I was not taking a shirt off.
Yeah,
and it was like, we shot twice in DC. Once early on a Sunday morning, but the sun was up, And then once, I would call it late on a Saturday night. It was really like 2 in the morning on Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
But to have that city to yourself, walking down the middle of the street, getting shots, walking across crosswalks, no movement, um, looking behind you, seeing the Washington Monument with Venus hanging just below the moon. It's a amazingly powerful set of circumstances.
Yeah.
Just because of the energy of that city that's asleep. You know what I mean? It's like you can just kind of feel it rumbling. It was just cool, eerie, but very cool.
Oh,
Um,
that's great. Not many people have done
yeah,
that.
no, it was, and I wasn't expecting it, but I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit, let me take this in for a minute. And it just
Yeah.
came out great.
Oh, yeah. I used to throw people in the
Yes.
river before the alligators started coming out and came
Oh,
from
I
somewhere. So,
know.
so we haven't been in the river. We're not
Yeah,
going in the river down here.
I got one for you. And this cracks me up. I think about this, I would say probably once every month or so, just pops in my head. But we were shooting in an alley, and we actually got a very good black and white
Mm.
bikerish cut. It should be a cover. But remember when the FedEx guy backed his
Yeah.
truck up to the alley, and I, just being me, I said, "Do you need any help?" And he said, "Sure."
Yeah, we're unloading.
There we are offloading FedEx packages for this dude. I'm like, there's got to be some liability or something. We shouldn't really be doing this. I
Right.
just always, I have a habit of asking people if they need help, and
Right.
certainly I'll help you. You know what I mean? But I kind of didn't expect him to say yes.
Yeah, I thought he
Um,
was gonna just move on and say, "No, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm
Get
good.
on
Just
out
get
of
out
there."
of, just get
He's
out
like,
of my way.
"No, help me." And then
He's
what are we
like,
gonna do?
he's
We're
like,
stuck now.
that made me laugh because he was dead serious. Sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, just yeah.
Yeah. And there were some packages. It wasn't
Yeah.
like just
Oh yeah,
one
he was
little
making a
box.
big delivery that day.
Yeah, he
It's
was
like,
making a
Jesus.
big old delivery. I figured you'd remember that.
I remember that one.
Um,
Yeah, you were where? Yeah, I remember exactly the bikery stuff, and I'm sure he was
yeah.
thinking the whole time, "What the hell are they doing
Yeah,
back
what the
here?"
hell? What if they're gonna help me?
But yeah, I was like, "Hey, by all means, I'll take it. I'll take those extra
Yeah.
hands."
That made me laugh.
Oh,
That made
for
me laugh. And
sure.
every time I ask somebody, like I'll see somebody offloading their groceries or something in the parking lot, I'm like, "You need any help with that?" Typically they say no, but if it's like a pallet of water or something,
Oh
and
yeah.
you don't need to be picking that up. I'll help you.
Uh huh.
Um, but yeah, FedEx Bro, he was bigger than both of us put together. If I
I
remember,
know. Like
he
he
was a big
was. He's a big
boy.
dude.
He was a big dude. I was like, okay, maybe I spoke too soon. Anyway,
Oh my god, I know,
um,
right?
yeah, that one stuck with me from that day forward. It just kind of made me laugh. Like,
You've been around a while, obviously, right?
yeah,
So you've been through the different
antique.
eras of the internet. We had pre-social media where everybody had to find things that was on dial-up, all the way through like the boom with fitness and stuff on IG and Facebook, and all
Yeah,
those
yeah.
influencers popped out. And now, of course, we're in the AI age and
Oh
things
my
like that.
God.
We can talk about that here in a bit too. But
Yeah.
the transition from where it was through social media, specifically here. What has helped you, if anything, from social media versus what's hindered you or put you off
Um,
relative to that?
I think for me, I was really slow to get on social media. I left martial arts completely out of my timeline, but I have almost a third level black belt. I stopped when I was second level with about 3 out of 4 clicks on my way to third level.
Hmm.
But I only started on social media because my karate sensei, he's a Kwan Nim in Korean, wanted me to get on social media because I was doing okay and we'd go to tournaments and I'd do okay. And he just kind of, it was kind of like pitching the karate
Hmm.
studio. Um, so that's how I got on social media. And one thing just kind of led to another. So my social media involvement has kind of grown from karate and with the kids. And then bodybuilding really made my Instagram take off. And then, of course, the modeling.
Hmm.
And it's funny because what's the one called? Because we went viral on that one
Gosh, yeah,
video.
the TikTok thing that we did
TikTok, that's it.
while I
I
was on
don't,
there for a brief moment in time.
yeah, well, see, I'm going to say the same thing. I'm not on there very much at all. I'm not
Hmm.
on TikTok. And I don't know what it is. I started, I think, and I don't even know what algorithms are, to be honest. I think I have a good idea, but I think they got skewed because I was all over the place. I'd get a
Hmm.
whole boatload of views and then I'd get none.
Oh yeah, I've heard that a lot of that's going on in a few social media groups and TikTok.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're
And
on
it,
it, you're great, but if you're not, it's
Yeah, no,
flatline.
there's only so many hours in a day, and I only have so
Well,
much
that's just it.
energy.
Yeah. I had to get off of there because I was doing the videos and then they would take them down or restrict them. And I was
That's
like, there's
ridiculous.
much
Yeah,
more erotic content on here than what I'm putting out.
yeah,
Why are you picking
and
on me?
yeah, and now you're wasting your time,
Yeah,
because it
well,
takes
yeah, that's
time
what
to
I
do
thought it
that.
was. So I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I still have my account on there, just in case,
Yeah, I do too. I do
but
too. And every
I
once in a
have
while, I go
not
back.
logged in quite a while. I probably have
No,
messages and tags and all that on there. Nope,
I
ain't seen them.
haven't. I haven't posted a thing.
Which is a great segue into the what I think is the wrong direction of things, which
Okay.
is the AI
Oh
thing.
yes. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but when I look at the covers that are AI, and now you can't even open Facebook without seeing
Oh,
everything that's AI generated on there. People were very quick to adopt that shit and cut everybody out. Whereas I just can't help but
absolutely.
see, knowing what I do in technology, when Photoshop used to make updates that were helpful and beneficial, like cutting somebody out of a background really easily,
Right.
that was a good improvement. That helped your
Sure.
workflow because you were still actively doing your shit. But
Right.
now it's like, oh, just do the whole thing with it and cut out everybody that's in the middle, the whole ecosystem that's built up. Um,
Right.
I don't know. To me, I can't help but see the harm and the theft and everything else before I
Right.
can see any of the proverbial benefits that these things offer
I,
people.
I see it better because I follow you. I mean,
Hmm.
you decipher it pretty well. You break it down and make it so that I can understand it. But I
Hmm.
know exactly what you're talking about. And to be honest, and I'm going to be about me for a second, being a POC and not getting a lot of activity in covers, and now covers not getting a lot of activities.
I
I
totally
know you're
understand.
struggling. Yeah.
That has been a point I've been making, well, preaching since 2022. This does nothing for POCs or minorities other than cut them out. And I see a lot of POC authors jumping on this. Again, maybe it's the picky ones that I mentioned earlier, the one that had the
Mhm.
laundry list. Of course, they're going to hop on it because now they can get whatever they want within 10 fingers per hand, whatever. But I
There's no
can't help but
phone.
see a stereotyped image on the cover. Nobody has any uniqueness or individuality. They're all just cookie
Right.
cutter. And I thought we were trying to get out of being put in a box, the
People
big,
say that until
until
they
they,
have the opportunity
well,
to really
now it's like,
poke.
oh, okay, we can just slap this shit on there and try to get our sales. I don't know. From a creative perspective, I see that. And I know I've worked with 1,000 different people over the years. I just can't help but think they're all out of work and out of opportunities
Yeah.
now. And that's, I think, the big piece that a lot of the discussion is missing. Not to get too mired in it, but I just got a feeling this is just the tip of the iceberg as far as like the jobs and the economy relative to all
I
of
think you're
this.
right. I
Because
think you're
there's no other reason for this to exist other than cost cutting and time
it's
savings.
cheap.
It's cheap
It's cheap.
and it gets you results with people that have short attention spans and don't critically think, will just consume your stuff
Right.
without a second thought. Nobody seems to care that that's what it looks like. You know what I'm saying? They just
It's a
they just
shame.
see it and go, oh,
Yeah.
and then drool, and then it's like, give me more.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a world that I'm struggling to see a benefit in.
There
Um,
is none.
yeah,
There is. The benefit is it's cheap.
yeah.
It's cheap. It's
And yeah,
McDonald's.
yeah, I just can't help but see the only people that are going to benefit are the ones with the subscriptions that people are
Right.
desperately paying for.
Like we talked about, and I think we've even seen it. There's a site or probably more than one app where you can write a whole book, whatever book whatever genre,
Hmm.
pick the cover, and it'll crunch it out in probably less than a minute.
Yeah.
And you can put whoever's name on it and give it to your significant other and say, "Honey, I wrote a book for you."
Yeah. It just floors me that people think they're immune to this.
Yeah.
Very short term gains. It's like the opposite of bodybuilding. Very short term gains,
Yes. That
with no
yes.
benefit long term at all.
Yes.
Where it's totally the opposite.
So
Uh,
you nailed it. You
yeah.
nailed it. And I'm gonna stop you, but you nailed it. And that's brilliant. It's the opposite of bodybuilding. Because for me, the beauty of bodybuilding is like I told you, you go in, you do the work, you get the results. It's a return on the investment that you don't get
100%.
anywhere else with a guarantee. So, where's the satisfaction of, oh, I'll just AI myself a set of abs and
I
boulder shoulders?
I know.
That's
I
horseshit.
don't
Who wants
understand.
that?
I've seen coaches online that are taking their clients before and afters and AIing them to
Oh,
look
yeah, we did
even
talk about it.
better. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
don't do
holy
that.
shit. And now you're falsely advertising yourself
Yeah.
and your clients
But who are you
for
kidding?
that you're probably
Who are
doing
you?
Chat GPT to get the plans anyway. And then people, they just buy into it, and it just freaks me
People
out
are
that we're just
lazy.
that,
Yep.
unfortunately, and this is going to make people lazier. It's that hook,
It's the
that
hook.
that feeling you get when you've accomplished something. I don't see how you can say you get that from a prompt.
You
I don't
can't.
see that at all.
You can't. You can't. You don't. If you, I don't either. I don't.
And I don't buy
I
it if
don't.
people are saying they do, and maybe that's because I'm like, you used AI
It,
anyway, so I don't buy a thing you say. But
yeah, it'd be a shame. I mean, it's a shame. Back to being at your best. There's nothing, and I don't even know if it's satisfying because, like I told you, some people will say, "How do you stay motivated? What keeps you going?" And like I told you, I don't have an off switch. It is a double-edged sword. I'm not motivated. I'm driven. I don't have a choice. Yeah, I do have a choice, but I really don't. I If I can get up and get to the gym, I do that. It's not just the gym. It's the routine. I do the things that I need to do to advance myself or to make sure my day is complete. I do them. I just do them. I don't
yeah,
want to do them. Nobody likes folding clothes. Who the hell likes to fold clothes? I don't have a mountain of clothes laying around. I can't
I do
stand it.
not like. Unfortunately, I will leave them in
I
the
do have
dryer.
a mountain of clothes. And I'm sure you pick up slack somewhere else, but I'm just using that to make a point.
Right.
I'm just driven. I'm not motivated to do anything. Honestly, now that the kids are in college and there's no after school activities, basketball games, concerts, dude, I'm headed for bed at 7:45, 8 o'clock. I have a guy that I work with, and my phone flashed, and he was calling me just a minute ago. He calls me every night at 7:15 because he knows I'm in bed at 7:30, literally.
You gotta get that
And
combo in
okay,
early.
got to get it in. It's funny because we laugh about it. He's like, "You're probably in bed." I'm like, "Just about." Um,
Almost.
yeah. Um, but my work's done. I've done everything I needed to do. I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to get up and do it all over again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Some people can't live that way, I guess, and maybe that's
No.
the AI crew. AI, I mean, there's obviously some advantages. Um,
Well, right. And again,
there's some
I can see
applications.
assistive
Yeah,
tech with a lot of data analysis, a lot of that kind of stuff I do. But when you just wholesale just
cheat. I'm just
do
cheating.
everything, yeah, you
Yeah,
just and then claiming things, and some of these people getting like record deals off AI music and stuff that millions
absolutely.
and all. I just shake my head because it's like, well, one, you can't copyright it, and two, it's like, what are you doing? Because it's like anybody can now make that. You made a worthless product in the broader
Yep.
scheme of things. So I don't know. Just can't wrap
This
my
might.
head around it. I can't.
So I typically have a good idea of the activities that I'm going to have an aptitude for, and I'm drawn to them. I've been able to train and work dogs. I can ride horses. I could just do it. Um, Sports, I could do just about any of them. Bodybuilding, it came easily to me. I had to work, but that was the easy part. I understand how this goes, and I can do that. Guitar, I work, and the return on the investment is not like the gym. And the problem with that is because I'm not getting that kind of feedback in my playing
Mm-hmm.
improving, I stop playing. I do the exact wrong thing. You got to work through it. And I'm looking at one of my guitars right now. I get to where I'm pretty good, and I've been on stage and I'm pretty good. But the other things, I'm not pretty good. I'm really good because I chose activities I knew I had an aptitude for. I thought I would have an aptitude for playing. I can sing a little bit, but I really wanted to be able to play, and I can't play like I want to.
Right. Well, I like that mindset. I read a book. It was about business, but it was called The Pumpkin Patch. I don't remember who wrote it. The mindset of all your abilities and things that you could do, treat it like a pumpkin patch and get the biggest
Yeah,
ones, the ones you're more capable of doing, and nurture those because you can't get the whole thing,
right.
and you can't pick the whole thing yourself. So
No,
nurture the biggest ones, the ones that are most likely to succeed for yourself, and
right.
focus on those things.
Yeah.
Now, would you say that's a good mindset, the one you have about pushing through? If someone is encountering moments of self doubt, because a lot of times we don't talk about it a lot as men. We like to try to
Yeah.
keep it internalized. But are there tips that you do to help get you through those down moments? Because they do creep in, for some a lot,
Yeah. And I'm
just to
gonna
kind of push through.
So, yeah, there are things that I do, but most of those are ingrained in coming from my dad, where I don't have an option. you got to keep going. You can't just curl up in a ball and quit. You just can't. And I don't know, with my kids, I really watch that. I don't ever push them that way. My dad pushed me that way, and I'm grateful for it. But in this day and age, it's different. Maybe I've lost sight of the question a little bit, but like I'm looking at that guitar and I'm thinking, I need to pick it up and just push through, and I'll get better, but I won't improve at the rate that I think that I should be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for me, any self doubt, I go back and look at pictures of me from my peak bodybuilding. I was like, dang, I was fairly badass. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the changes are subtle. You know how it is.
Yeah.
But you look back, you've got plenty of before and afters or before and nows, and it's like, yeah, stacking bricks, baby. It,
Yeah.
it didn't happen overnight, but I stayed on the path and I kept doing what I was supposed to do. There's no cutting corners. So when you're down, when you're feeling like woe is me, I don't have a lot of that,
Mm-hmm.
but I always just lean on, put the work in, you will get the results. Just keep rolling. I have had some moments at work, and I hesitate to talk too much about it, where there was just too much friction.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to push through that, but I pushed through it by doing things the way I do them, more and louder.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because what I realized is people are taking advantage of my team playerness. And I'm a team player because I think it helps, not because I'm spineless.
Right.
Don't get it twisted. But there's some people that take advantage, kind of bully, that's the word. They kind of bully.
Oh, yeah.
No, you don't want to do that too much. And I took some of it, and then finally I just no.
It makes people very uncomfortable because they're so used to
They're used to,
the
yeah, they're not used to that
timidness
side.
and like you said though, they view it as a weakness, but it shouldn't be viewed as a weakness.
No,
No, not at
no,
all.
don't kid yourself.
Exactly. This whole discussion actually is why I have that keep rising mentality too. You can't keep yourself down and mired. You just got to keep pushing forward,
Yeah,
golden day by day. And it's very small steps a lot of the time, but you might take a few back and forth as you go.
right.
But it's important that you keep recognizing your forward momentum,
Yep,
especially where you came from. And a lot of people are hesitant to look back for whatever reason because it brings back memories, painful or whatnot.
yep,
But I think it's important to know where you started because otherwise, how are you going to gauge your progress?
right,
Yeah.
right. This and I toyed with whether I was going to share this part or not, and I probably should have shared it timeline wise earlier, but I think it applies to your question about being down and how do you do it?
Hmm.
So when I was in the Navy, I was a teetotaler my whole life. I didn't have a drink, beer, anything until I was 18. And I had my last drink. And then I stopped. I probably stopped when I was 20. And then I stopped for good when I was 23. I was in the Navy. Dude, I could drink. In 2 years' time, I could just drink. They checked me into the Naval Hospital. I had a blood alcohol is 5 times the legal limit, twice the lethal limit. They'd seen people on a slab with half that alcohol in their system. And I had a concussion. I had a gash in my head. I was plowed. I was drunk as hell. But I came through that. I had to go through rehab.
Hmm.
And actually, Captain Wiley, the one who I mentioned earlier that suggested I go fly, he actually came by the hospital to see me, which almost set me back because they're like, "Oh, you think you're going to be able to get out of here because you know people?" I'm like, "No, he was just in the area and wanted to come visit." But I just quit. I went through all the 12 steps and did all the stuff, but it was all going through the motions. I quit. I quit. And dude, I haven't had a drink since I was 23 years old. I quit
Hmm.
when I was post concussion and able to get up and move around. I wanted to go to the gym, wanted to go train, wanted to go run, do something. No, I was basically imprisoned. I'm in the
Hmm.
Navy, but there you can't get out. So I'm doing sprints in the stairwell, running up and down the stairs, doing push-ups in the hallway. Finally, they let me go to the gym. The orderly that took me was watching me train. He's like, "Dude, you don't belong here." I said, "Yeah, I do." But I was killing it. I could always
Hmm.
run. I was always physical. I was always active. So I guess how do I get through it? I turn to the things that I can do that I do best.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can do
That's all you
that.
can do.
I don't know. I don't know how to get through the rest of this shit, but I know how to do that,
Yeah.
and the rest will follow. And I haven't had a
Absolutely.
drink since. I've been
100. That's great.
65. Yeah, when you're challenged,
You
go back to your basics. What do
that
you do well?
that's a good advice for sure.
Yeah.
What do you have planned for the future? Is there any kind of projects or things coming up for you that
You
people
got
should
another
know
hour?
about? Oh shit.
So this is the funny thing. Um, Talking about having an aptitude, knowing, gravitating towards things that I have an aptitude for. Well, ever since I was a little kid, I've always loved dogs. You may not remember the encyclopedia. Probably half the people that watch this will have never heard of an encyclopedia, but that was really Wikipedia. That was really the internet back in the day. Was 30 volumes of World Book or Britannica Encyclopedia,
Oh yeah, we
and
had
I
a copy
always,
of those on the shelf.
yeah. So I always pulled out the D volume, and it would just fall right open to the dogs, and I would just look at all these breeds of dogs and just, one of these days I'm going to have a dog. And so when I finally had the opportunity, started doing my research, put together a spreadsheet on a piece of graph paper with a pencil, and plus pros and cons, pluses and minuses, breeders, that kind of thing. Contacted a few breeders of a few different breeds. Finally went to a sheepdog trial, border collies, exclusively border collies. And that was it. Game over. I wanted to do that. And 2 years later, I had a dog. 2 years after that, I was standing at the handler's post in that big field where I had seen my first dog trial, running my dog. Didn't have a clue, my very first dog, but just watched and learned, went to clinics and had some really good success. But, life kind of does what it's going to do, kids. And so stopped dog trialing, but bodybuilding kind of took the place of it because I didn't have to travel so much to train. I just go to
Hmm.
the gym. But I've always wanted to get back to it. So projects, I'm finishing my barn. I'm putting in a run through. I'm going to have my own sheep, and I've already got a friend. I reached out to him. It's been about 4 years ago, and I said, I got a 5-year plan. I said, because I'm not in the inner circle and all of the good breedings, everybody's already talking about it. Everybody's already got their deposit in for this breeding, this, that breeding, the other breeding. I said, I'm not in the know like that. So I always wind up with a pretty good dog. And you can do a lot of damage with a pretty good dog.
Hmm.
But I told him, it's going to be probably my last go at it. I'll be 67, I said, I want to maximize my chances. And he's Scottish. I got you, Skip. I got you. I got you. Just let me know. Just let me know. So finishing my run through, and it's been a challenge. I'm not a carpenter. I'm learning as I go.
Hmm.
But I have a good friend who lives just down the road, has a full blown farm. He's been helping me. That's a whole side story in itself. But I'm going to get there and I'm going to get back into running dogs. That's my
Okay.
retirement plan.
Nice. Oh, that'll be fun
Yeah.
too. I mean,
Yeah.
dogs and me get
Yeah.
along really well. So anything about
Oh,
that.
you're a
So
dog guy. You're a dog guy. You understand. People that
absolutely.
don't aren't dog people don't get it. But
No,
it,
but
and
certainly do in this
yeah,
house for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
I'd be lost without them. So the kids are coming up. Always got at least two, probably three dogs. And just as things would happen, we wound up one morning, no dogs in the house. No dogs. It was 30 years I'd had a dog. And I wound up calling a good friend of mine, and I told her, I don't need a puppy. I don't need to start pups. I need dogs a couple years old. I had gotten a dog from her back in the day, my little red female, who was a crackerjack. She had two dogs still in her kennel that were like 2 years old that she wasn't going to trial with. She said, come down, take a look. I'll sell you one. So I went down, I took Major with me, and we looked at him. Mage is a dog person. In fact, she just got a cat too. But so we're down there and we're looking at these dogs. I'm like, Mage, which one do you want? Meantime, I'm texting Constance. I'm like, can I get both of these? Because I can't make Mage make that decision. She said, I thought you would just come home with both of them anyway. So we wound up driving back, drove down to North Carolina and back, 14 hours of driving.
Mm.
Um, Two dogs, still have them. They're sitting on the steps right now.
Oh.
Um, yeah, but that not having a dog in the house, no, can't do it.
Oh, I know. When we board them if we both are on travel and the night
Yeah.
before it's so quiet and we're like, no,
Oh
don't
yeah.
like it. Don't like this at
Yeah.
all.
It's just it's like the house doesn't have a heartbeat anymore.
No,
Um,
not at all. Where can people find you online? Just your socials.
What am I? IFBB Pro? Am I Skip Robinson underscore IFBB Pro
I think so.
at
I'll
on
pop it up on
IG?
the screen so people can find it
Yeah,
for sure. But yeah,
I never look for myself.
I know,
Please
right?
do.
I don't.
Mm,
Well, if you're looking up yourself online, something.
Yeah.
This has been the Furious Focus, where creativity, culture, and the chaos in between is a topic of discussion. Hope that you all have a great day, and we'll catch y'all next time.